Hello everyone and welcome back to the Premiership Quarter. Today I'm going to be doing a reaction to the Jeremy Finlayson 3-match suspension, as well as talking a little bit about the Kosiah Pickett incident that caused him to miss 1 week at the AFL Tribunal. To start with, I'm going to be talking about the Finlayson thing, and let's get right into it. So he apparently on the Friday night against Essendon said a homophobic slur towards an Essendon player that got picked up on one of the umpire's microphones, but he had owned up to it beforehand, spoke to the club or the umpire, the third umpire on the boundary, and the AFL had started looking into it. We don't know what was said. We don't need to know what was said. That's not the important part. All we need to know is that it was a homophobic slur and that he owned up to it, and it was directed at a player, not an umpire and not a fan. So he got 3 weeks for it. That's what they came out with today. And I'm very confused by the situation. We obviously had the Clarkson thing earlier in pre-season, where after the Jimmy Webster hit on Jai Simpkin, he came out and had a go at Jimmy at, I believe, quarter time. He also said something homophobic towards Jimmy, I believe, that I don't think was picked up or anything. I think it was just reported by someone on the sidelines. I don't think it was actually recorded what he said. But he got a 2-week suspended ban, and for some reason, we don't know why it was suspended. Just really confusing. It shows absolute inconsistencies in the AFL's reporting issues. I've already talked about this in a prior incident with the Jimmy Webster hit video that I did, and I just don't like how the AFL have been reviewing it. It's weird that he got 3 weeks when Clarkson got 2 weeks. It doesn't make sense that he, for some reason, got 3 when Clarkson had 2, even if Clarkson's was suspended. It was very, very weird to me that it happened. And also, the AFL has come out in their reportings and said that it would have been a longer suspension had he have not admitted to it. So they would have reviewed the microphone footage, heard what he had said, and then given him a longer suspension. Maybe it would have been 5 weeks, maybe 6. Maybe it would just been an extra 4th week added to it for some reason. I don't get that part. I think it doesn't matter whether he owned up to it or not, because it would have been caught anyway. The players went at him, or one player went at him afterwards. They spoke to the umpires, but they had already been notified of it. And I just think it's very, very weird. There's also been another comparison to the Tex Walker incident in 2021, where at the Sandford game, he made a racist remark to one of the opposition players, and he got a 6-week suspension. Do I find a difference between a homophobic and a racist slur? Not really. It was very weird that Taylor Walker got 6 weeks, and then we've come out and 3 years later, Alastair Clarkson got 2 weeks, Jeremy Finlayson got 3 weeks. A lot of inconsistencies. It's a big problem, and I don't like it. It's something the AFL needs to fix, and it's going to be a real problem because, like the head trauma stuff, it's something the AFL needs to fix because it's not going to stop. It's going to keep happening. It's part of the game in terms of the head stuff, but this should never be part of the game. So it needs to be hit. It needs to be hit on the head now before it starts being accepted as part of the game. Now, in exchange for Clarkson not getting the 2-week suspension, he did get a $20,000 fine, and that was a bit weird. It's weird for officials and coaches and assistant coaches to be able to get fines greater than what players can. I don't think that's fair, and I also don't think the $2,000 fine for almost getting a suspension is enough. I think that should be increased to actually mean something for when a player does it. And also, Taylor Walker did get the $20,000 donation that he had to make to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander programs, which I think is a fair thing to do. And Jeremy Finlayson probably should do something like that as well, just to level the playing field a little bit. The AFLPA has also come out and said that they don't like the inconsistencies and the fact that the AFL has not been able to find the consistency between the players and the coaches and staff in teams. I think that's a fair thing for them to do, and it gets them on the front foot and shows that the players and the association is aware of the problem which is a really, really good sign. I'm now going to be talking about the Kosiah Pickett bump on Jake Soligo in the Melbourne versus Adelaide match on Thursday night from Gather Round. It has resulted in Pickett getting a one-match suspension that Melbourne did challenge on Tuesday night at the tribunal, but I thought prior to it he had a higher chance of going to 2 weeks than getting off and getting no weeks at all. So it was a pretty stupid suspension from Melbourne. A few people in the media have questioned it, and I agree with them. Like, it was a very obvious 1 weeker, and it just made no sense to waste the AFL's time and a bit of money to try get Pickett off. So now we'll get into the footage. So as you can see, Soligo's got the ball. He picks it up and he's about to get the handball off. Pickett jumped up to smother it. There's nothing fine. Sligo's gotten rid of the ball, and this is where the Maynard comparison comes into play. We've obviously now got the Maynard rule, technically, where so long as it's a football act and you brace for contact, you're normally fine, even with head-high contact. But the problem here, as you will see, is that as Pickett's watching him, he doesn't brace for contact or brace to save himself from being injured. He is in the air at his peak. You can see him move his elbow out, and that's where the problem comes from. He has initiated the contact and he wants to hurt Soligo. It's a pretty obvious call. They paid it high, which is good, which is the right call, and Pickett obviously gets the one match suspension. There was absolutely no need for him to do it. It's become a bit of a habit now with him as well. He's had 3 suspensions in essentially the last year: the bump on Bailey Smith, the one on Paddy Cripps in the final, and then now this one. And it's a bit of a problem with him. He probably needs to dial it back a little with his aggression. Yes, it's part of his game and it's what makes him such a good player. But at the same time, when it's becoming an issue like this and it is becoming potentially a habit, you might need to dial it back a little. I had Christian Petrarca saying something that's what makes him so good. That if you're doing it like this, then it's not good. It's not part of the game. It should never be part of the game. And he probably needs to take a bit of a look at himself, because it is becoming a problem. I do like the fact that they gave it 1 week, but I do think it could have been cause for 2, because as you look at it, it is definitely careless contact. It's not accidental. And I think there's a chance you could upgrade it even from medium to potentially high contact, because it's not good. If it was Soligo getting concussed, I think they would have done it to high contact at minimum, potentially even severe, and that could have got him potentially to 4 weeks. I think they should have done it too, because there was intention to hurt, and he got him high with a purposeful elbow out. That would have been my thoughts. I think if they do want to crack down on this sort of stuff, something that's not part of the game, then they should have gone 2, and I think they were a little bit soft going 1. But that's going to be the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. It'll really help push the video in the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. There's going to be a lot more on its way. Leave your thoughts on Jeremy Finlayson and the Kosiah Pickett bump in the comments below. And thanks for watching.